Thanks for tuning in to the Urban Scope podcast. I'm back with more boxing news. Kind of excited about the boxing matchup that's coming up in September. And I don't get to talk enough about boxing. It's one of the sports that I do love and love to watch. But unfortunately, boxing comes on a little bit later than most sports. So I do go to sleep kind of early most of the time. So I don't get to watch boxing as much as I would love to. I usually watch the replays and things like that. But this matchup, I'm just going to take a nap early. And I definitely will be watching this fight uh, between Canelo Alvarez and Terrence Bud Crawford. The biggest fight that I've seen since Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather back in 2015 or wherever that fight was. So it's been about 10 years since we had an elite fight of this magnitude, especially at this weight that they're fighting at 168 at the middleweight. And they're fighting on September 13th on Netflix. So it's free with the Netflix subscription. So that's even more exciting news. I don't have to pay $100, $200 for a fight, and we don't know how the fight is going to be. So it's one of those things where you're always taking a risk when you're buying these fights. But them doing fights more on Netflix, I think, would help with their revenue sharing and for their viewership. And I think this fight in general, hopefully, is an omen to boxing world and to just get them more viewership, because we know after Mike Tyson left and Floyd Mayweather left, the viewership went down. So it's been kind of at a standstill right now. And these fights cost a lot of money, opposed to like watching a football or basketball game or baseball game. Those are free with just cable, subscription. But with boxing, you have to have the cable subscription, then you have to buy the fights. I know they have outlets like the Zone, but that's $20 a month, and you're not going to want to watch every fight every month. So sometimes that $20 is wasted. Some people feel, unless you're a true avid boxer fan who just watch fights all the time. But I think this is great for the viewership for boxing, just to have that free outlet, so to speak, through Netflix. Netflix are doing major things with their sports. We just saw what they did with the NFL last year. They haven't really incorporated basketball yet, but I'm pretty sure that's set to come. But nevertheless, back to this boxing match. Um, One of the things I'm excited about this boxing match is not only the fight itself and what it'll bring possibly or potentially to boxing, but the return of Max Kellerman. I'm very, very excited for his return, as he has had a hiatus ever since his exodus from ESPN First Take and his radio show that he had after. So he's been on this hiatus, and everyone's been wondering, where's Max Kellerman? Where is Max Kellerman? We haven't heard anything from him. He hasn't been vocal, but he has been announced that he will cover this fight. So I'm excited to see that. And Max Kellerman is one of those greats in sports voices. You know, when you think about the Dick Vitales, the John Maddens, the um, Pat Summerall, sorry. When you think about those type great guys, he's definitely one of those voices that you hear when you think about sports. Because I know when college basketball, I was a huge fan of, men's college basketball back in the days, and I always heard Dick Vitale's voice and how excited he was to announce these things and talk about these things. And you could tell he wasn't doing it just for the money, but for the love of the game and what he knew. And he was one of the best analysts and critics of the game. So you always had that. But Max is an elite common, analyst in boxing and in sports in general. I loved him on First Take, and I hated when he had to leave First Take, because I felt it was unwarranted. I liked him more than Stephen A. Smith when I watched the show, just because of the funny analysis he had and the connection he had to hip hop music and how knowledgeable he was, coming from Ivy Leagues as well. But back to the fight. This Alvarez and Crawford fight, I think there's a lot of variables that a lot of people have been talking about, and just looking offhand and being a boxing fan, the biggest one is the size matchup or the size differentiation. Of course, Canelo is the naturally bigger fighter, so most people are thinking that can Crawford hurt Canelo? Because we know Canelo can hurt Crawford, but can Crawford hurt Canelo is the question. Um, because I don't think this is going to be a knockout for either fighter. I think it's going to go down to decision. And I'll talk about my prediction in a little bit, but I think Crawford just has to slow down Canelo. Uh, enough body shots on him, and I think he'll be able to slow him down. But he's gonna have to win this by points. He's not gonna be able to knock out Canelo, I don't think. Of course, anyone can be knocked out. You get punched in the right spot, but I just think Canelo just has more experience, and he has more. He's just a stronger fighter, and of course, it's weird because Crawford is the older fighter by 2 years, but Canelo has 26 more fights. So it's going to come down to the experience of Canelo versus the power or the savviness of Crawford. So he's going to have to be real savvy because Canelo has savviness and ring smarts as well, but he has that experience and he's never been put down as the same as Crawford. And the thing I think about Canelo is, does he have too much wear and tear? Pause. Because he's fought a lot of elite fighters, and he fought Triple G 3 times, and that can try to take a toll on your body. And he's already fought over 60 something fights, being at the age of 35 because he started professionally young. But I don't know if Canelo, he doesn't appear to be slowing down, but sometimes you never know. Every fight is different. It's styles makes fights. But we'll see where he is on the attrition part. Crawford has the most to gain from this fight because if Crawford wins this fight, he goes to that Mayweather elite status. He can get those $100 million fights and so forth, and he can control his own destiny as far as boxing goes. He becomes the new leader in boxing, and he's already on that trajectory now. But for him to move up to 168 and being able to control things, he's gonna put the world in a whole new light. He's going to be the top dog at that point, undisputedly, if he can beat Canelo, because Canelo is considered the best in the game right now. So if he can win this fight, now if Canelo wins this fight, they're going to say he's supposed to win it because he's fighting at his natural weight, and you're fighting a guy who came up in weight. So Canelo really doesn't have anything to gain from this fight. He only really has anything to lose, in my perspective. It would just be the status quo for Canelo to win this fight. So I do believe Terrence Crawford has more to benefit from this fight as he's going up in weight. And at the same time, he's not considered the top fighter that Canelo is because Canelo has all these different fights and fought all these different legends. So, but I do think Canelo will win this fight by a split decision. And I think the fight will go 12 rounds because I don't think anyone would get knocked out. Because I just think Canelo is just too strong to get knocked out, and I think Terrence Crawford is just too savvy to get knocked out. So um, it'll be exciting to see, and of course, I'll cover the review of this fight after it happens on September 13th. And until next time, I'll see you next time.